Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special edition of Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jar, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. As you may be aware, the Union of Liberian Associations in the Americas will be having our elections on September 18 in Columbus, Ohio. Two teams are vying for the leadership of this umbrella organization, and one of them will become victorious. One of those teams is the Kamara-Grant team. That's the team headed by Shewa Kamara and Minerva S. Grant. Well, the team is here tonight to make its case for the ULAA leadership. Along with the team is also the team spokesman, and we're going to be introducing them very shortly. We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. Again, please invite a friend, share the show, and let's begin our conversation. Gentlemen and ladies, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Welcome, Miss.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be going around the room shortly for introduction, but we want to welcome you. And for those of you joining us for the first time on Focus on Liberia, this is a special welcome starting from Mr. Shewa Kamara. We say welcome. This is our ceremonial palm wine.
Thank you.
To Focus on Liberia. Also joining us for the first time is Dr. Will Jala. Dr. Jala, welcome, and we can have a toast. Also joining us for the first time is Minerva S. Grant for the first time on Focus on Liberia. Again, we say welcome. We give you our ceremonial color. Last but not the least, we say Alpha Tonga joining us from Ohio. Again, we say welcome to Focus on Liberia for the first time.
Thank you.
Also joining us on the team is Robert O. Reeves, Reverend Reeves. Welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you.
All right. This is the Kamara-Grant team, and from left to right, let me welcome all of you. These are all candidates for ULAA leadership, including the spokesman. So the first one is the head of the ticket, Mr. Shewa Kamara. Mr. Kamara, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jar.
By the way, Mr. Kamara is the former president of the Liberians in Pennsylvania. He's vying for the presidency of the umbrella organization. Again, Mr. Kamara, welcome.
Thank you, sir.
I want to welcome the vice presidential candidate, Ms. Minerva Grant. She has won many hats in ULAA. Minerva, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you.
Also, I want to welcome running as treasurer, or the candidate for treasurer is in my hometown here, member of our community, Dr. Will Jala. Will, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis Jar.
I want to welcome the one who is running as the Northern Regional Vice President, Mr. Alpha Tonga. He's joining us from where we're going to go and have the election, Ohio. Tonga, welcome to Focus on Liberia.
Thank you, Mr. Jar. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. We'll take some time now to go around the room, and Reverend Reeves is going to be joining us shortly. Reverend, you are running as what?
Reverend Reeves is there.
All right. Reverend Reeves, welcome.
I don't know what's happening.
Okay. We got that fixed, but let's go around the room. We will start from the spokesperson or the campaign spokesperson to first let's do an introduction. Just introduce yourself, your role on the team, and the purpose for which you are here tonight. Let me start with the campaign spokesman, Mr. Cisse Goya, who, by the way, is the education analyst right here on Focus on Liberia. Mr. Goya.
Thank you so much. My name is Cisse Goya, and as Dennis just said, I am the educational analyst here on Focus on Liberia. And so I'm here with a team that is headed by a teacher, an educator. So we are here today to try to teach and elevate everything ULAA and everything Liberia. So it's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Let me go to Reverend Reed. Please introduce yourself again. Welcome to Focus on Liberia for the first time.
Thank you for this platform. I take my hats off to you all for what you guys been doing. My name is Reverend Robert O. Reeves. I from Staten Island, and I'm invited for the Eastern Regional Vice President position. We, as a team, come with a new voice, and a voice that for the people, by the people, and we are promising that we will be that effective. And again, I say thank you, and we look forward to having a good show.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Mr. Alpha Tonga. Just tell us, introduce yourself, what and your role on the team, and what we should expect.
Well, my name is Alpha Tanger. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. I'm the current president of the Liberian community here in the city of Columbus, and also the recording secretary for the Federation of Liberian Associations in the Ohio. I'm here to bring new voice, new perspective, new change to the union. And I'm look forward to working closely with my team members to make sure that we change the union. That's the campaign we're running on. We're running on change. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Let me go to Dr. Jala.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis Jha. It's an opportunity to be on your show today. This is the first time coming and focus on Liberia, and I just want to commend you for all that you do for the community and the world over. So I'm Dr. Will Jala, candidate for the position of treasurer. I joined Mr. Siawu and Minerva team to help bring change to ULAA and thereafter transform the way business is conducted at ULAA. We are hopeful that as the best candidate of two, we will prevail and that will transform the Treasury Department of ULAA, where accountability, transparency, timely reporting. The website of ULAA carries the financial reports every year so that everyone, everywhere can access ULAA finances because those reports are public records. So if I were to go on ULAA website right now to look for last year financial report, I stand corrected. It's difficult to find that. So I have no clues financially where ULAA stands today. If I were to find out what is ULAA equity in terms of assets, there are no records on the Facebook or on ULAA website to find. So we come to bring change, and we complement the change with transformation of the Treasury Department and help Mr. Shehu Kamara deliver his promise to the Liberian people. Thank you, Mr. Denenda. Thank you to the team.
Thank you so much. Let's go to the vice presidential candidate, Ms. Grant.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Jha, for inviting us. My name is Kamara-Grant. I'm running with Mr. Shehu Kamara as his vice presidential candidate, and I'm happy to be part of this team, a team that want to bring change to the union in a very positive way. And so I dare to help to assist Mr. Kamara in bringing those changes, especially with the rest of the team we have. We know that we are going to do better. So again, thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you so much. And earlier I said I was giving Mr. Kamara a palm wine. So I got these two comments. They say there's no palm wine for Mandingo people. So maybe they're thinking, Mr. And then Seattle say you should do Italian a little better. So whatever you're taking, Mr. Kamara, and we'll give you water. Let's go to Mr. Kamara, who is the head of the team. Mr. Kamara, please introduce yourself to my audience and tell us why you were running.
Thank you, Mr. Jha, for inviting me. And I really want to say a big thank you to you and the rest of your audience. I think you have done an incredible job. Thank you also for the traditional aspect of welcoming me and extending the palm wine and everything else in the Atai. I will not resist any of those because I think Liberia, every tribe in Liberia is a useful tribe, that brings about productivity, to our nation and state. So, yes, thank you so much. My name is Shewa Kamara. I'm married to my beautiful wife, Rosalind Kamara. I have two beautiful girls, Yanga and Eunice, and I have two grandchildren. I hail from Lufa County, Liberia, and got educated at the high school level at Woodinville, Topman High School, University of Liberia, and I have a master's in social work. I describe myself as a change agent. I'm a teacher by profession in the past. I'm a student activist. Previously, I'm a trade unionist. And currently, I'm a social worker working with family, to be able to bring some of the changes that, impact family lives. So I'm in this race to ensure that ULAA takes its place among organizations. This organization has been very pivotal in inscribing and bringing some of the values that we enjoy today. For example, the democratic thing that we enjoy today, one person, one vote in our country. ULAA was very, very instrumental in bringing that. But the last 4 or 5 years, we are seeing a broken system that needs to be changed, that needs to be replaced, and that needs a change agent. And that's why I'm in this race here, to be able to revamp ULAA and give it a structure and bring back the hopes and aspirations to the Liberian diaspora and, of course, in our homeland.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just joining us, this is Focus on Liberia. ULAA is having elections in September. That's September 18. And I'm hosting the Kamara-Grant team. And so the president, or the presidential candidate has just spoken. So let me start with the spokesperson to say, well, people watching us some may not know what ULAA is. Introduce us to ULAA and why is it important that your team or the team that you were speaking for represents ULAA this time in the leadership.
Thank you so much. For those who are not abreast with what ULAA is supposed to be the Union of Liberian Association in the Americas. The Americas include North and South America. But as it is right now, with the last administration, ULAA has instead morphed to become the Union of Liberian Association in a handful of states. We cannot allow that, and that comes to the why I'm supporting this team. I'm supporting this team and why it should be important to you. I'm about to tell you. If for any reason you had a phone call from a family member, from a loved one in the last few years that have been worried about their immigration status and you didn't know who to call, if you are on TPS or been on DED and you've been here for so many years and you lost loved ones in Liberia and you didn't have the chance to go back home to properly grieve and properly honor them like we do as Liberians. If you have been in a crisis, and I've had friends and loved ones in crisis that called you and you've been confused and don't have a phone number to call. If you feel like you are a Liberian, but you don't have an organization that you belong to that will hover over you and try to teach your culture and try to expand your culture, I say you should care. Because ULAA, as it is right now, is dying. If you vote for this team that I'm supporting right now, and you listen to all of them, from Sheryl Kamara, from his days being a student activist, to a teacher, to a trade unionist, down to Dr. Will Jala, who is an expert financial person. And we're talking to Kamara-Grant, who is running as a VP, who has been in ULAA, who was won as the only election commissioner chair to lead a delegation of Liberians representing ULAA to observe accredited observation of the Liberian election process in Liberia. And I'm talking about Dr. Reeves, and there's so many work he's done both as a reverend, as a man of God, but also as a professional. And of course, the youngest man on this team, Alpha Tonga, he has led Columbus into making sure that they can buy land to construct their own property, Liberian owned property. And they were able to raise $50,000 in grant. So I'm telling you that if you have ever had an immigration issue and you've not felt a need or have never had help, if right now you don't even know where to go to apply for the Liberian Refugees Fairness Act because leadership has been missing, we're telling you to vote for this team because this team will put you first. This team will make sure that when there is a crisis, you will have a 911 number to call and somebody will answer the phone. This team will be present, they will be available because they will put you first. And this team, above all, is willing to change the kleptocratic ecosystem that's been created in ULAA, where we have been celebrating mediocrity, where people can say they raised $20,000 from people donating money versus leaning on Ohio or leaning on Minnesota to say we can get grants of $50,000 plus. So I'll tell you why this should be important to you. Do not celebrate mediocrity. This is a team that will bring the change because they have the lift experience and the learn experience.
Thank you. Let me go to Alpha Tonga. And no ageism here, but the campaign spokesperson said he's the youngest on the team, and I can see that. And I'm happy that a young person, will join because most of our organizations from county, people say that's the old people thing. So we're happy. So let me go to Alpha running as Northern Regional Vice President. What's the role of the regional vice president? Because we have the executive vice president. So what's the role of the regional vice president, and what is aid that you bring to that position?
Thank you, Mr. Ja, for that question. So the regional vice president, ULAA is structured into different regions. So within the regional vice president, you have Ohio, Minnesota, Iowa, Indiana, Kentucky. So all of the states within that corridor. So they structure in a way that those regions, their regional vice president will advocate the union's agenda, advocate the union's policies within that particular region. Just a little bit about myself. I live here in the city of Columbus. I'm married. I have 4 kids, and I'm a business owner. I have been working with my community probably over 10 years in different capacities. I'm the current president for the Librarians the Librarians here in the city of Columbus. I look at community work slightly different. I look at community work in a way where we are positioned to provide services to the needs of our community. A lot of young guys my age would rather not do this because of the time, the resources that it takes. But I've been working for my community for a very long time. When I became president of LICI, the first thing for the last 35 years, that's how long LICI has been in existence. We advocated to build our own community center. And we didn't just come up with that decision. There was a need assessment that was done for our community back in 2014 by our local county. And the need assessment, the results were just astonishing. With our youth not going to college, with our senior citizens not having nowhere to go, and unemployment was so high in the community. And we look at ourselves as community leaders, like, what are we really doing with our community organizations? Are we just there to say we have positions? So we decided to take on a different approach. That approach to move our community from a social club, I'll call it, to more of a community-based organization. It had to bring some change. Some of those change included how we selected the leaders of our organization. And that went right back into our bylaws. We pushed an agenda. It took us 2 years to reform our bylaws, to make sure our bylaws accommodate the current situations or the current status of our community. And we rallied the community. We said we need to build our community center. Nobody's going to build our community center for us. The community raised over $60,000 cash. We purchased a 1-acre land to build that center. And when we purchased the land, and I mean, it was huge for Liberian community, diaspora community, or African community to come together for such a common cause. So we put some consultants together, partner up with the city of Columbus, with the state, and we recently rolled out a $1.5 million capital campaign to be able to build our community center. So we're doing a lot of work in the community, and some of the things that I personally will want to bring onto the northern region is one, to assist other chapter members in capacity building. The reason why we're not getting the type of money that we need to get, because our organizations don't have the right structure, they don't have the right capacity, they don't have the right resources. So I want to be able to bring that to our northern region chapters. We also want to promote chapter courses together, right? We want to be able to collaborate, come up with a common project. If LICI is building a community center, how can a northern region come together, assist LICI, and we take that same exact model to take it to Indiana, take the same exact model and take it to Minnesota? I mean, it's just so much work to do. So another thing is our youth. As you mentioned earlier, the youth, even in our community, when I took office, nobody knew what LICI was except for the older folks. If you ask anybody in our community today, from the children, they will tell you exactly what LICI is. Because we pushed an aggressive community engagement agenda online, in churches, on the field, and that's the same exact attitude that we want to bring towards our northern region, to empower our youth, to make sure that they trust the system. They trust Liberian organizations, not just a social club, not just a field day party, right? Real need, addressing the real need of the communities. And also overall, push ULAA's agenda. We want to be able to push ULAA's agenda. So it's, and I mean, during COVID, we managed to rally our local government agencies, the city, local organizations. We brought over 50 pounds of food to our communities in 3 different occasions. We distributed over 200 turkeys during in the heat of COVID. We gave our masks, and we had a mental health forum through the Ohio Department of Mental Health. So we've done so much, and this is how community organizations should be. So, and we wish we can call ULAA on that level to say, hey, can you help us raise this money? Can you help us bring some resources for COVID? So that's the ULAA that we want to look forward to, and that's what I bring to the northern region at this particular time once I'm selected.
Thank you. And talking about the turkey, you just made me hungry. All right, let's see the Reverend. And Reverend, if you have a problem with just and talking about the turkey, we'll just have you for 5 minutes, and then we can let you go if the connection issue is not fixed. So you're running to be the Eastern Region Vice President. Tell me about your activities. Why should voters go into the ULAA delegates? Why should they vote for you? What is it that sets you apart from your opponent? Going to the ULAA delegates. Mr. Reeves. They vote for you. What is it? All right, Reverend Reeves, we are having some problem here with Reverend Reeves. Where is Dr. Jala? Ladies and gentlemen, and then let me say this, because we at Focus on Liberia extended invitations to both the Kamara-Grant team and the Carter Kia team. We had no response from the Carter Kia team. I follow up with the presidential candidate and also their spokesperson, and still did not get response. And that's why we are having the Kamara-Grant team. If any time before the election, September 18, if the Kato Kia team wants to come, we are still open. Let me go to the presidential candidate, Mr. Kamara. You ran for ULAA. This is your third time running for the ULAA presidency. You won the first time, you lost. The second time, again, you were rejected. What changed that you think they're going to take you this time?
Well, thank you, Mr. Ja. The issue is not what changed. I think the issue is what is in my fabric that is causing me and is making me to yearn to impact our diaspora community. That is the context in which I would see myself. And to respond to that question, leadership matters in everything. The first time I ran, and for some reason I didn't win, I had compelling reasons to contest the result. But I didn't want a fragmented organization. The second time, the same thing happened. I didn't want a fragmented organization. But since the last 6 years, as much as these individuals have done everything to hold themselves in power, nothing has changed. They've sat on their hands. They've every opportunity that has been given to them, they've broken it. For example, since the last 6 years, the Financial Policy Committee was passed on to Mr. Carter and Mr. Vama Fofana. That has vanished. Then the school project was also passed to them that my campaign contributed a total of $700 to, that have vanished. They have no plan. All they do is to go from one direction to another and embarking on projects. But I am coming into this leadership, and that's the thing that keeps me up. Mr. Dennis, you tell me this. For God's sake, like my spokesperson espoused on, Liberians want to be able to connect to their leadership. If they make that call at 3 a.m. or whatever the purpose is, somebody needs to answer that. But currently, the leadership of Mr. Carter and Mr. Fofana, they're not providing that. They don't even answer their phone. Even me, I have also called Mr. Fofana on several occasions. He has never responded to me. So you have an organization that is so decadent, and that is the thing that is keeping me up, Mr. Ja, to be able to fix this, because leadership matters, and these are the changes that I want to bring. And with the core of officers that I have, Kamara-Grant and the rest of the team, we will surely bring the new direction and the new vision, to ULAA.
Thank you. And Ms. Grant, the same question, but I'm going to phrase it differently, because both times when Shehu Kamara, Mr. Kamara ran and lost, you were the election commission chair. So you may know little more than I do. In your view, why did Mr. Kamara lose 2 consecutive elections, and why do you think he's going to win now?
Wow. Okay, well, as chairperson of the Election Commission, and thanks for the question, as chairperson of the Election Commission, all we could do there is to talk about the elections, how it will be conducted. But it was left with the candidates and to run their campaign, and to encourage voters to vote for them. So I don't know what's happened with those voters that came and saw what Mr. Kamara had to offer, but did not vote for him. But I can tell you, with this new leadership and this new team that he has put together, I know that he's going to win this election, because he got a good team together. I'm not disputing the fact of the last team, but I think they say that he's somebody with passion, that somebody that wants to see change in the union. So he's not going to sit on the fence. He's going to continue to see what he can do, and if he can to come as a leader and bring that change. And that's what I'm on board with him.
Thank you so much. So let me go to the campaign spokesman, and Mr. Will Jala, you are on the line. We having problem with your line. So if I can come to you, Dr. Jala, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Okay, let me ask you a question. Why we tried, our folks in the back are working to get you on, but let me ask you. Most of the time, our organizations in the diaspora, financial accountability, financial transparency have been an issue. And because of that, sometimes we don't even get the grant money that we so desperately need. When it comes to what are you going to do differently to ensure or to ensure financial transparency and accountability? Or what is the knowledge that you possess that you think can change the game plan?
Thank you, Mr. Dennis Shaw. Let me start from the days of Lama, the Liberian Association. Dennis, can you?
Yeah, go ahead.
So let me start with the Liberian Association of Metropolitan Atlanta. In 2011, I was elected to the board of directors, and I served as Ways and Means Committee Chair. After that, for a period of 2 years, I became the chairman of the board of directors. Thereafter, I became the Election Commission chairman for Lama, and I was very instrumental as chairman of Lama to revamp the Constitution and made it into bylaws, because we believe that non-profit organizations should not carry Constitution; they should carry bylaws. So we serve as chair on that committee. At the Booker Washington Institute Alumni Association, where I graduated from high school, I served as the National Financial Secretary for 6 years. That was 3 consecutive terms. During those 3 consecutive terms, the finances of BWR were very transparent. We were very accountable to our people. Our financial records are completely visible to all of its members and the public. Currently, we serve as National Financial Secretary for the University of Liberia Alumni Association in Georgia, in the USA. As a National Financial Secretary, we also made financial reporting transparent. We were very accountable to our people. We had no secrecy in the finances. Whenever we prepare financial report, we included the bank statement to support the financial report. In real time, anybody will access our financial report. So as we get on the bigger stage, which is ULAA, we believe we bring those skills that will help Mr. Seow and Madam Greg in making sure that ULAA is adequately transparent. We want to make sure that ULAA can present financial report timely with no secrecy. We want to also go beyond financial reporting and identify other sources of income for ULAA. What do I mean by that? Grants. How can we tap into the grant environment to secure grants for Liberia, for ULAA? As we see every year in Liberia, there is National League. Is it possible that ULAA, as the National League is going on in Liberia, ULAA can do similar National League in America? For example, take Georgia. So this year you are going to host. And we come to Georgia, we do fundraiser Sunday association. Another area of concern will be capacity building. We believe that ULAA should be an umbrella in helping government of Liberia identify skills that can be used in Liberia to help alleviate some of the challenges that government is facing. For example, Liberian Water and Sewer Corporation. As of today, to the best of my knowledge, we still have running water. We got a series of engineers in America that we can talk with government and give them capacity building so as to alleviate that. We go to the Liberian economy. We say Liberian economy is not doing well. So the first thing we to do is we have to identify why it's not doing well, as compared to just criticizing.
Right.
So as we come on this stage, we are going to be helping ULAA, but at the same time, if there are opportunities for the several grant team to help government Liberia, I think it will be the right thing to do.
Thank you.
We can't continue to criticize government Liberia but have no solutions to the problem. So that's where we come in as experts in finance and accounting.
Thank you.
Regards,
Yeah, complete your thought. Go ahead.
so regards your last question, I am a very seasoned financial expert. I grew up in Firestone, one of the biggest Washington Institute where I obtained my diploma in accounting. I came to the United States, went to Georgia State University, got my BA in accounting. Went to AIU, American Intercontinental University, obtained my master's in marketing. And I went to DeVry University, obtained my master's in accounting and financial management. And in 2020, I was successful obtaining my doctorate in accounting. My area of focus was mostly forensic accounting, forensic audit, and also financial statement audit. So we believe with all of these skills, combining them with the skills of the team, including Mr. Siago, Minerva, Mr. Tonga, Dr. Reeves, we believe we can change ULAA and transform the financial sector. Really. Thank you, Mr. Deneja.
Thank you. And Reverend Reeves, I hope your line is well now.
Yeah, I guess it's well now.
So let me ask you, why are you running to be Eastern Region Financial or Eastern Region Regional VP? What is it? What are some of the activities that voters will look at and say, yes, this is the guy for this job?
I think I come in with a baggage of experience, and I believe that we need a new voice, a voice that will stand up for transparency, a voice that will speak for the people. You know, I'm from some between the old school and the young school. When I first came here and I observed going to school, and I saw something in the education system, and that is the alumni. The alumni speak volume to every institution here in America. They speak and they work. And from that perspective, I saw myself in a place where I think I can volunteer myself. By the way, let me just make it straight. I'm not a doctor. My brother is a doctor, Reverend Dr. Samuel B. Reeves. Though I went to a theological seminary, I spent 7 years studying theology. Left from there, went to management. I did conflict negotiation and mediation. So I have a diverse setting. And coming from school, I came and worked in the heart of Manhattan, where we were taking care of refugees that were coming from Ghana, Ivory Coast, and Guinea. And I sat on the advisory team and came up with different plans, different strategies in which we can build a community. I'm all about building a community. I went further and worked with the YMCA in the outreach program where I seek jobs for a new American Liberians. So I come with a, con- uh, a baggage of experience, and experience in which I have uh, spread all where I find myself. Yet in Staten Island, I work behind the scene, and I work with the grant program. I I work developing programs alongside with uh, other leaders, and I've felt the need. There's a time now for me to speak,
Thank
and
you.
speaking with a new voice. I come to join the Shehu and the Minerva team because I have seen their plan. I have seen their strategies. I have seen where they want to go. So being on the team is not a waste, but it is a game where I can exhibit my talent. Being as the Eastern Regional Vice President, my concept is to bring together those chapters that are falling apart, those chapters that are breaking, and if we can come as a team together and design plans and design the strategy in which we can build on here in America, then in Liberia, then we all have a voice to speak. But a lot of times we want to speak in Liberia and we don't have that voice. And that voice have to start from us.
From here.
And that's where I find myself, and that's where I find the team going, speaking with a new voice, a
Thank
voice
you.
of inclusion, a voice of 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 transparency, a voice of outreach that will bring all of us together and
Thank
make
you.
us. So I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that other people is listening. That this team has the know-how, and I want to invite all of them, all Liberians that is going out to Ohio, come ready to choose a team that will work from day one. So I
Thank
say
you.
thank you, and I rest my case.
Thank you. Mr. Goya, you are the campaign spokesperson. Uh, Mr. Goya, one thing is clear is there was an election commission team that has been working. In the middle of the campaign, this team was disbanded by the leadership of ULA. And now we have the ULA, according to what I've learned from the ad hoc campaign elections committee, ULA eminent counsel have to come in and say, well, the board of directors, you are wrong for doing this. The executive committee, you are wrong for doing this. But for the sake, we're going to have an ad hoc committee. So now you have an ad hoc committee. Why do you think that I mean, and you are running in this, your team is running in this? Do you believe that the same fate of the previous committee would not befall this one? Do you trust the outcome of such an election where the president dissolved the election committee in the middle of the election season, and now there is a new ad hoc committee put in place? How confident are you, and you are going into this? Are you going to, at the end of it, say, "Oh, as they say in Liberia, if it I will know"?
Well, we believe as a team that the union transcends all of our individual needs, and that the cohesion of ULA is more important than our individual needs, and that's the reason we are still participating in the process that is being marred by coup d'état and attempted coup d'états. And this is some of the things when we say, how can a vice president, a sitting vice president, who feels entitled to the presidency, not by ability or by value, or by the mere fact that he has proximity to the office. How can we trust Frank Carter to take an oath to defend conscientiously the Constitution of ULA when in fact Frank Carter has confessed, along with his president and their own elected chair of the board, that they acquiesced, connived, planned, and implemented the abrogation, they planned the abrogation of the Constitution of ULA. Frank Carter told me in Ohio that the reason they removed the first election chair and her team was because her tenure had expired. And my question to him at the time was, when did her tenure expire? He said, about a year ago. I said, when did you know that? As a sitting vice president. He said, well, a year ago. I said, so you knew that when you applied to her election commission as a candidate? He said, yes. I said, so you knew that when you submitted all of your documentation that she asked you for? He said, yes. And I said, well, how then can we trust your judgment if you're willing to connive with people to bend the Constitution of ULA? How do we then trust you with?
Sorry to interrupt, Mr. Goya. So with this ad hoc committee, do you trust that this committee going to manage this election without any interference from the executive committee? And will you abide by the outcome?
So we are going to say, like Ronald Reagan said, trust but verify.
Thank you.
We're going to trust, but we're going to verify. If we didn't believe in the process, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be spending our money to go to Ohio. We believe that the process will be free and fair. That is our belief. But we are going to also verify. We're going to keep an eagle eye. But we trust that at the end of the day, the eminent council that came in and stepped in to prevent the collapse of ULA is also deeply vested in keeping a cohesive and unified ULA. And therefore, they will do their work, their due diligence to ensure that the elections are free, fair, and transparent. As it is already, we've been seeing some machinations going on. But just let me learn real quick, because one of the biggest problems was that they had assumed that there was not going to be a challenge to Frank Carter. They were hoping to run on a white ballot. And so when they saw Sherwood come in and put together a team that is far more qualified beyond what they have, they decided now that they had to do some machinations. But I would tell you, and I would tell everybody, that we're going to show up, we're going to participate in the process, we are going to trust the process, but we're going to verify.
Thank you. And Reverend Reese, can you sit up straight so we can have? Okay, thank you. Let me go to the presidential candidate. Mr. Kamara, I have followed ULA for a long time now. I hope you are aware. And for the past 20 years, there has been no outsider winning an election in ULA. And we always have the president passing the presidency, one way or the other, to the vice president. Mm-hmm. One instance since for over 20 years now. So whoever is in power, vice president, has been succeeding, except for one time where the establishment still won when the buck was passed to the chairman of the board. What makes you think that you're going to break that cycle this time around, especially for the third time trying? And do you have confidence that this time around you're going to break that cycle? Why is that?
Thank you, Mr. Jha. It's a complex question, but
yeah, that's what I do here. I give complex ones.
It's a complex question, but I can say this to you. My deep-seated conviction is that the people of Liberia, especially the diaspora Liberians, should benefit from the services that should be provided in their local communities. And the 2 times that I have ran, people see that conviction in me, they see the passion in me, they see the abilities in me. And so currently, even some of our foes that we disagree with, they are saying that I'm the most qualified candidate in this race. And you can see from the the slate of candidates that are tapped. These are individuals with wealth of experiences in their own professional areas. So all I can promise you, Ja, is I will continue to make my case to the Liberian people that yes, ULAA deserves a better leadership. And my core value is around advocacy, effectiveness, inclusiveness, outreach, and transparency. So the idea is that we should even just begin to do the small things. I'm not going to promise ambiguous, or ambitious projects, but I want to be able to create a ULAA, a forum where diaspora Liberians can outreach to their community, to be able to engage their individual communities, and bring in stakeholders or other individuals to understand exactly what is going on with their local communities.
Mr. Kamara, sorry to interrupt you, but here's the question, because you have the same fine platform, you have the same elite team, but yet whoever is the president will pass the presidency, or they will do whatever they can so that the vice president becomes the next president. We saw that, from Arthur Watson to Emmanuel Weti, Keseli, and the list goes on and on. Now you have the current vice president, Frank Carter, who's running to succeed his boss. What are you going to do differently this time to stop what is known in the ULAA cycle as the dress, rise, dress system?
Yeah.
Tell me exactly.
Yeah, and that's the point I'm making to you. I think we cracked the system. We're being able to crack the system because, like I said to you, some of the foes, FOES that opposed me yesterday, some of them are lined up behind my campaign. So I think that is a plus, to my campaign. Also, the gallantry of my campaign and the National Leadership Council that was able to abort that process first to even disqualify me from this process. That alone is something that I see as an achievement to not to allow them to continue with the dress right dress. Because Mr. Carter and his president did everything else, and that is what even led to the abrogation of the Elections Commission by President Fofana. But again, thanks to the eminent council and other individuals who have interest in the union, we think, again, like my spokesperson said, we trust the process, but we'll watch it with very keen eye, and we are hoping that this time around, that dress will not prevail.
Let me go to Mr. Tonga. Mr. Capin, spokesman, you will come in, but let me go to Mr. Tonga.
Point a little bit, Mr. Jai, if you will, please, just for 1 minute.
Okay, 30 seconds, please.
30 seconds is way too long. I think one of the biggest pieces also is that in past election there have been a semblance of a competent vice president to hand power to, but that is missing this time around. In past elections, you would have had the vice presidential candidate solidify his home base. We had Alpha Tonga coming from his backyard. So there is no home base that this vice president can run on. So things are different this time around.
Thank you. Mr. Tonga, let me go to you because before I come to the vice presidential candidate, you are a young man, the youngest perhaps in both teams. You are from Columbus, Ohio, where the current vice president who's running to be president is coming from. A natural place for you will be to run with the Carter team so that you can, because he's one step closer to power. Why is it that instead you are running with Mr. Kamara, who lost twice?
Thank you for the question. That's a very, very interesting question, but I will let Mr. Carter answer that question. But what I would tell you is I'm bringing and assisting the Shehu and Minerva camp to bring change to this union, a new voice, a new way that community organizations to work. So that's the talent that I'm bringing on this team. And I look forward to allowing ULAA to utilize our skills as with the skills of other young Liberian professionals to once again trust the system to be able to give back to their communities.
My question is, why are you running with this team instead of the Carter team from your hometown, Columbus?
So that's what I'm saying. The question of being on the Carter team is a question that goes for Mr. Carter to answer.
Right.
I'm
So are
running
you
with
saying, because he didn't take you, that's why you're here?
not necessarily.
Okay.
I'm running with the Shehu team because the philosophies align in terms of the change that we want to bring to the union. I read both platforms. I understand both platforms, and the Shehu and Minerva team is a team that will likely bring the change that we all want to see in this union.
Madam Vice Presidential candidate, and those watching us, this is focused on Liberia. We are sitting down with the Kamara-Grant team that's they're running to lead ULAA election in September 18 in Columbus, Ohio. Madam Vice Presidential candidate, most of the time, Liberians running or heading ULAA look towards Liberia. Some people use this as a stepping stone to go to Liberia and work. And trust me, we all want to contribute to our country. We all want to work. I mean, I rather work in Liberia and give my best than working here because that's my country. But what should the role of ULAA be when it comes to their interaction with the government of Liberia? There are certain things we do. So, are you using this as a stepping stone so you can get your dream job in Liberia? Or what should ULAA connection to Liberia be? What is it that we're supposed to be doing, when it comes to ULAA and Liberia? Should we be the one, just trying to see we make the noise so that when they hear that we are loud enough, then they say, hey, come in? Or what really should be ULAA's role in connection with the government of Liberia? Tough one.
Thank you for that question. First thing, I'm not using this as a stepping stone to get job in Liberia. If I do get job, it will be because of my qualification and my education experience. So I'm not using this as a stepping stone. I just love to serve my community. But I think that ULAA role, because when ULAA was founded, actually, it was to advocate for social change in Liberia, was to advocate for Liberians in the Americas. So we should continue that. ULAA did it, like my presidential candidate said. They did it to bring change in the election process in Liberia. And there are other processes, there are other things that are happening in Liberia that ULAA can continue advocating for our people there. At the same time, ULAA should be able to help the Liberian government, work in partnership with the Liberian government. If they are saying things against the government, what the government doing, but they should be able to bring solution. They should be able to help the government to improve the lives of of Liberians in Liberia. And for first thing, we should make sure we in the diaspora, we are strong. So you don't have to be able to work with the Liberians. We get professional Liberians in the diaspora to help our Liberians in the diaspora. Then we can go to Liberia to talk. Because if we can't clean our own yard, how are we going to tell the other people, say, clean your yard, So you don't have the vision there that they're supposed to advocate to bring social change, to bring justice to Liberia, and they did it, and they continue doing it. But we understand some people took this as a stepping stone to get a job in Liberia because they talk loud. But I will tell you, with this team, I do not think that's why we are doing this for. We are doing it for a change, to bring change into the union, to make the union vibrant, and especially our chapters, because the chapters make up the union. So that's all I get to say.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Focus on Liberia. If you want to join the conversation to quiz the Kamara-Grant team, please call the number on your line, on your screen, 605-313-6004. The code is 791403. Our phone lines are open. If you're in Liberia or outside the country, we have a WhatsApp line that is that's scrolling down here. You can call that number and someone will answer you and put you through to the on the show. So we will take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to be reading comments and opening and then answering those who will be calling. So please keep your dial set here. Mr. Kamara, when we come back, what I will be asking you that you need to think about is to draw the contrast between you and your opponent. Because from what I learned, your opponent has been around the ULAA circles as election commission, now vice president. So I want you to draw that contrast why the delegates should vote for you instead of your opponent. But before that, we're going to take a short break and we'll be right back.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara, my question to you is why should voters pick you over Mr. Carter, who's now the current VP?
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. I wanted to provide a little perspective about myself. Every organization I've involved in, I've impacted that organization. And I don't want to go to Liberia, but beginning with the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania, I was an effective leader. When I came in, I organized a youth summit. I was visible with immigration issues. I bossed people to Harrisburg, to my state capital. When I came in, Mr. Eminent Wetty was president of the union. At the time, about 10,000 Liberians were about to be deported. I worked with him on those crises, with the DED crisis. Then Mr. Cassidy ushered in, and I worked with him effectively. And when tragedy struck, I was visible in my community. I'm a leader who is ready, and my campaign officials, I can tell you, anything that my hand touch, I try to do it to the best of my ability. So the contrast between my opponent, Mr. Carter, and I is that I'm a fixer and he is a destroyer. And all of the things that I've done in my life, in organization, are always impact. Even I left the presidency of the Liberian Association of Pennsylvania since 10 years ago. I'm still visible in my chapter. I'm still visible in my community organization. I'm the chairperson of my church council. I'm the chairperson of another organization, the Agape Senior Citizen Center. And I can tell you that my church, I don't want for people to say, oh, go credit money, but my church is proud of my leadership. Agape Senior Citizen is proud of my leadership. So that is the contrast, that is one of the key contrasts between Mr. Carter and myself. But Mr. Carter, over 20 years that he has boasted for, is just a braggadocio, empty boasting. There's really nothing that is in it. This is a man, Mr. Dennis, that when he was Secretary General for FOLAO, under his watchful eyes, the Dayton City relationship with Monrovia was lost. That is a relationship that took buses, that sent medical equipment to Liberia, that did some very good things, but he lost it. This is the man, even under his watch, as regional vice president, the North Dakota chapter, I can put the letters up, even wrote that ULAA was a disgrace. ULAA was a disgrace for even getting involved in their chapter activities. This is a man or a candidate that anything he touches, he destroys. For example, I was telling you the school project that even though Mr. Kony and I could not agree, we had diverging opinions about ULAA. But when Mr. Kony was leaving, he left a school project that they did a need assessment for. That project was passed to he and Mr. Fofana leadership. That project has vanished. The 2-day convention of ULAA, as we are marching on to Columbus, Ohio, that was left in Mr. Carter's care, he had destroyed that. So anything that this gentleman touches, he destroyed. So he stayed 20 years of sitting in a chair for Elections Commission. Just imagine, in the 21st century, when you were Election Commission chair, people wrote their names on the ballot paper. He makes no reform. As Eastern Regional Vice President, he, mind you this, watch this, he called other people seasonal bird. But this man took the regional vice presidency position and vanished away for the national vice president position. Mind you now, if you are Northern Regional Vice President, it's like a representative position in your region. But he didn't even stay there for a year. As long as they offered him a bid, he took it. So this is a real seasonal bird who gravitated to position from one position to another without showing any record. So that's the contrast that he and myself have. And the other contrast is that like day and night between me and Mr. Carter. Everybody can see. Right now, as I speak to you, Mr. Jah, I have a platform that I wanted to speak to earlier. That platform is embodied with the way we want to impact our diaspora Liberians. And my understanding, my vision is that my VP said, I will concentrate now on the diaspora to make sure I do capacity building, to bring back some of those organizations that have vanished in thin air, and Mr. Carter and his president have not even done anything about it. I will try to reach out to the community and bring them back. I'm even hoping maybe to give some incentives to chapters that will come back to the union. So my 100 days plan, I'm going to tell you this. I know my
before I want to, you said something, and I want to push back on that. Yes, that's the major criticism of you when it comes to ULAA, that you only come back election time to run. So that's why you mentioned that, and I read about it. Seasonal bird. That's why the cattle camp call you, that you are back to run for the presidency. When you lose, you out again, and you are coming back 2 years later. And what's your response? So
my response is, Mr. Jah, that's what I said to you. Mr. Carter is actually the true seasonal bird because he's taking on positions without impacting his community. He became regional vice president. He showed nothing, and now he jumped to the vice presidential position as the national VP. Now he's leaving. He really has no substantive thing to show. But I will say this to you. When Mr. Carter and his folks make the argument that I'm a seasonal bird, it means they lack the understanding and the details of what ULAA is. ULAA is a membership chapter. Your chapter has to belong to the union. And I'm impacting and involved in my community as a viable community servant. More than that, I've been closely involved. In 2016, I chaired the largest group. When we went to the convention, Mayuna, you said I was defeated by Mr. Kony. But what kind of seasonal bird will go to a convention that will organize the following year by somebody who defeated him and played a pivotal role? In 2017 also, when I lost that election, I had all arguments to contest that result, but I argued that ULAA was bigger than myself and my campaign. I didn't want fragmentation. I took $700 and gave it to Mr. Carter, to Fofana at the time. So what kind of seasonal bird will ever do that?
Thank you. Thank you. Because I want to ask a similar question to the VP or the vice presidential candidate. Ms. Grant, your opponent, Lucy Kia Wilson, I mean, why should we pick you over her? You are muted. Unmute yourself, please.
The photo should pick me because I am our team, and like Mr. Kamara, we are not ceasing up to ULAA. We are not, unlike Miss Lucy that coming in. She really doesn't know ULAA like that. When we started impacting and working for ULAA, she was not around. She just coming around 2 years ago. She just coming around. I would tell the ULAA people, okay, I started with ULAA 2005. I was president for the Liberian Association of Wisconsin, Madison. And from there, I moved to Minnesota and I worked with my chapter. My chapter, OLM, which is one of the vibrant chapter in ULAA. I work with them and still working with them. Okay, and then I became ULAA chairperson for the election commission 2 times. Successful election. My commission myself, we for the first time took ULAA to Liberia to be observer because I knew ULAA fought to have 3-4 parties in Liberia. Now all the time Liberia they're having election. Why can't ULAA be part of it? And we're able to get that successfully. We're even trying to get Liberians in the diaspora to vote, to be able to vote. That we're working on. COVID, everything came into place. I went to become the chairperson for the Social and Education Commission. While in that position, I traveled to Liberia on my own, my vacation, but I decided we needed to do something for the diaspora and the Liberians in Liberia. I was able to meet with the First Lady. I was able to meet with the Vice President, and I told our project, our agenda, what we wanted to do, how we wanted to see how we can work with the educational system, the health system to improve it. But because we have professional Liberians in the diaspora, look at person like Untitled Chapter, person Mr. Sisse, our PR person, Tonka, people that can take sabbatical to go back Liberia and train our health professional. Even person like myself that in the health system as a mental health practitioner and Mr. Kamara, So we're trying to do that, but politics came into it, and through Mr. Famba Fofana with his vice president, Mr. Carter, they did not allow it to go. And then to happen because we planned the program, everything, but play politics because election year was coming 2017. So they play politics for us to not do that project. And then President working as the regional vice president for the Northern region. Just in the 2 years, I have bring peace to North Dakota. North Dakota has an elected officer. Their chapter is all right. I brought peace into Iowa. Iowa now they had an election successful there. And we were even planning, the Northern region were planning to have this program that I call all the leaders together. And Mr. Tonka can attest to that. I call all the leaders together that we will each year we'll go to one chapter. And we're coming to your chapter to do fundraising, but you should have a project for your chapter that will come and help you to fundraise and leave the money with you to do whatever you're doing. And the first chapter we took, it was Columbus, because they said they were trying to get the center, their community center. We planned everything, but we all know that COVID came, so we had to stop we had to hold everything for 2020. The people were not allowing people to come in, and that's why we never implemented that. So, Miss, yeah, I can stop there for now and continue. later.
Thank
But
you.
like I was saying, can you just give me 1 minute, just one second.
35 seconds.
Yeah, like Mrs. Wilson, her own chapter. She never did anything in her chapter as president for and the DC chapter. Nothing. Instead of that, she changed everything. When I opened account in her name, registered the chapter differently. And when she was leaving the chapter, she closed it. How can you close association account with all giving bank statement? Nothing. The only thing she turned over were $400 to the present leadership. Is that what we call transparency? Is that what we call accountability? No.
Thank you.
So
let me get to some of our comments here quickly because we are way out of time. So let's get to some comments here. Theodore House said, "Where's the team campaign chairman, Mr. James Jonyon? I'm proud to say he's my son-in-law." Mohammed Douglas said, "Focus on your campaign and forget about the current administration." The campaign chair is laughing, smiling. Lord Salia is after you. Say, Mr. Spokesperson, you're making great point minus the criticism of the past people. Orita Davis says the youth needs after-school activities in every state. Nara Mosu says, Alpha Tonga is a dynamic young man in our community. I support him all the way. Mohammed said, wow, Alpha Tonga sounded fantastic. He's describing genuine engagement strategy, how to foster belongingness and doing things differently. Bravo. Abraham said, Chapter and Wilson is the best ticket. I'm not sure what that is. Theodore said, congratulations to you for expressing such passion. Your team seems eager to take on the challenges facing the organization. ULAA needs a facelift. Hope you do get a chance to provide the needed changes. Good luck. Abby Tyler said, what is ULAA doing for Liberians in the America? Abby continue, all the financial experts, but the organization is still dealing with financial issues and corruption year after year. Okay, let's stop there. This guy is rubbing my hair with oil here. All right. Okay, there was a question here from me. Gakon Moel says directing the question to me. Okay, Gakon says it's normal that is normal in all election. Are you insinuating that VP should not become president? No, that was not the purpose of my question. Is VPs, if VPs are becoming president, what makes you think that you're going to break that cycle? That was my question, Mr. Gakon Moel. So those are the comments. Let me start with Mr. Dr. Jala. If you can use 30 seconds to respond to any of the comments that you heard. Some were there for financial. So give your response 1 minute, and I will give Alpha 1 minute, and then the president 1 minute to respond to our comments.
Thank you, Mr. Yaya, and thanks for the comment from the listener. So what we intend to do is to ensure that our financial reports are made public. We will encourage yearly internal audit. If possible, we'll also encourage yearly external audit. That way our financial statements are vetted by an external party that will show that the Sherwood team is not engaged in any corruption or fraud. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Tongo, your response to the question. You have some love here.
Yeah, I think, and thanks for the love. We just want to bring a different perspective to what community organizations should be about. I think there was a comment on that every Liberian community should have after school program, right? And that's how I see community work. I mean, it bothers me, especially in my community. It bothers me that there are kids that in our community that cannot read. Okay, the local school systems have failed them, there's lack of, so there's a cultural issues, right? They don't understand our kids, and because of that, our kids really find it very, very difficult to thrive in the local schools. There should be no reason for you to have a Liberian community that's not providing the type of services to their kids. Okay, I really do think that it's a broken system, especially in the diaspora. All of our Liberian community organizations across the board, we need to do better. And we have to look up to ULA to set that standard.
Yeah.
I look at ULA more of a franchise type system, that if they're doing something up there, that the benefits can get triggered down to our different community. There should be no reason why ULA does not get federal grants for after school programs, to disperse those grants to the respective communities.
Yeah.
There should be no reason. We have the power, we have the numbers, we have what it takes, we have the talent. I think we have to utilize it a little better. And that's the perspective that we bring as the Shehu and Kamara-Grant team to make sure that we start setting those changes.
Thank you. And Dr. Jala, there's a question here for you. You see, I find it quite perplexing that the gentleman, financial expert talking about you now, seems to be focusing on how to help the Liberian government. I think the focus should be improving solidarity among Liberians in the United States. As the name indicates, the organization's main focus should be on Liberians in the Americas, not Liberia. Do you care to respond to that for just 30 seconds?
Yes, great point. I think the emphasis was more on ULA, but ULA should be an umbrella to help government Liberia in capacity building, because a lot of Liberians came to America to acquire skills that can be useful in Liberia. For example, in 2009, when I graduated from DeVry University, I had the opportunity of being hired by the World Bank and assigned the Ministry of Finance as the technical focal point to Frieda Stewart Tama, who was then the Deputy Minister of Finance for Revenue. So my role there was based upon my expertise from here. And we have to go back to country to give help to country.
Thank you.
Not forgetting about us in America. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Presidential Candidates, I want you to pick any of the comments that we read and then your response.
I like the comments about focusing on the diaspora Liberians and the after school program. Right. And that is where our concentration is. It's just 2 years.
Sorry, Mr. Let me put another one there. This one said from Abby, what is ULA doing for Liberians in the Americas? So add that.
Okay, that's precisely why I want to speak to. So, like I said, just 2 years, that you are voted, in leadership for. So my concentration is not even right now, if I'm later president, to concentrate on a bigger project, but I want to concentrate first on the community engagement, to even just outreach to communities and their partners to understand what their needs are. I want to be able to look at the status and procedures, of ULA, and look at the entire framework. Where there is a need to make recommendations, we'll put in place a process that will be able to bring some level of transparency, fairness, and equitable distribution. Thirdly, I would like to see a PR perspective, where we'll be able to communicate the agenda of ULA to the various communities. Those are the 3 areas that I want to concentrate. And if we are able to do that successfully, then we are able to provide a scope where chapters can be engaged, chapters can be able to involve each other through best practices, and then we can begin to make the union more better. Chapters can be, embark on, sharing other ideas. Like, for example, Mr. Tonga is building a community center. Another community like North Dakota or Iowa could say, okay, you know what? Share your experiences with us, because this is what we want to do. But we want to concentrate first on the diaspora and set the structure up, because that structure that we have, hopefully we're going to be taking over, is broken. It's so convoluted and it's hard to understand. We want to understand that first through all those three perspectives: the community engagement, looking at all the policies and procedures, and the PR perspective.
Thank you. And yes, Love here saying hi, Shiwu and team. And Eugenia also is responding to this question here from Mr. Hart. Say, Kyoto, they want to sell librarians here and librarians back home. Just thought I could mention that. But ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for your time. Wish you all good luck as you go into Ohio to contest. Please, whether you win or not, please come back here on Focus on Liberia and let's talk about it. And Mr. Presidential candidate, as you were talking about sharing best practices about community center, another example could be Dr. Will Jala here from Atlanta. We lost our community center. So we can also tell someone in North Dakota how not to lose community center. So that are some of the things you can share. I wanted to go around the room so we can get your pattern comments. If there's anything you want voters to hear going to Ohio on September 18th. By the way, September 18th is my wedding anniversary. I don't know whether I should go to Ohio for election or stay here, but that's another issue we got to discuss it behind closed door with somebody who controls that department. But let's go around the room. If there's anything you want voters to remember, you want Liberians everywhere in the world to remember about you, about the campaign, and what you want them to do, I want you to use the last 5. We have each of you 1 minute to use that time to give your closing remarks. And let's start with Reverend Robert Reeves. Reverend?
What I want the voter to know that we coming to build a network. We want to work together to bring a cohesive workmanship among our chapters. And as we go out there, remember us and know that this team has the manpower. And again, I say thank you for giving us the opportunity to come to share ourselves and to give the vision to the people that needs it. And for sure, we will deliver and we will do your work. Again, I say thank you, and thank you, Mr. Jha.
Thank you so much for the time. Saturday, I mean, it's time to party, but you are here. We appreciate you. Mr. Tonga.
Well, thank you so much for allowing us the opportunity to be on your show. We just want to charge all Liberians in the diaspora: don't give up on your community organizations. Get involved. Let's all work together. There are a lot of talented Liberian, young, older, that brings so much on the table. So let's not shy away from the day-to-day shenanigans. Let's just focus on bringing our community together. So if you're in Ohio, just make sure you vote wisely. Make sure you vote for change. I know we all tired of our community organizations failing us. So please, we appealing to you to vote your heart. Don't vote partisan. Don't vote because somebody bring you as a delegate. Look at the issues and just vote your heart. Vote for change. So thank you very much, Mr. Jha, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you. Mr. Cisse Goya, the campaign spokesperson.
I appreciate you for having this team on. Just like you too, Mr. Jha, September 18th is my birthday, but I'm flying into Ohio. I'm using my birthday to cast my ballot for this team. And that's how much respect I have for this team, and that's how much I'm invested in ULAA. When you listen to my vice president and presidential candidate and my regional president and Dr. Jala and Reverend Reeves, when they spoke about change, they spoke about growth. It's their growth mindset. So if you're tired of asking what is ULAA, what has ULAA done for me? When you're tired of looking for help places, this is your time. This is your chance. We are at a crossroad. This is when you vote for competence over friendship. I am from Minnesota. Minnesota is bringing other members of the Carter team, and I'm going with this team because I believe one of the true marks of being French is to tell your friends when they are not able to do stuff. And so we are asking you to vote for the fixers, not for the reverse King Midas. You see, Frank Carter has been a reverse King Midas. We read a story in third grade, King Midas, everything he touched on to go. Frank Carter, instead, whatever he touches dies. So if you want ULAA to die, hand it over to Frank Carter. He took over the Northern region, and Northern region was in coma. Thanks to our incoming VP who took over, Kamara-Grant, to resuscitate our organization. We are tired of picking up after people that get elected simply because we know them and we don't want them to feel bad. Now is the time to put our people above our personal friendship. Vote for a team that has the learn, earn, and lived experience. Vote for Shehu Kamara and the entire team. And there are two people not on here today. I'm also supporting, and this team is supporting Emmanuel Nangbe. She's running as the Secretary General. And of course, Alex Bassi, who had to attend a funeral today, couldn't be here. He's also running. So please vote for a team that's going to put ULAA first, that's going to put your interest first, so that when you pick up the phone and call, somebody's going to answer. There's going to be people coming to help you and making sure that we
Mr.
have...
Goya, your 1 minute is over.
Thank you. You have a teacher. You have a teacher.
Let's go to Dr. Jala.
Thank you, Mr. Dereja. It was an opportunity to be a part of this conversation. For those of you who tune in to listen to us, we also want to say thank you for taking up your precious time and tagging along with us. As we go to Columbus, Ohio in the next few days, all we can say is that please cast your votes for our team. We're here to change the way ULAA conducts business. We're here to make your resources visible to you. So financial reporting will be done timely. We'll make sure those financial reports are audited at all times, and your resources will be very, very secure. So once again, we count on you for the votes. Thank you.
Thank you. Don Dennis said, wow, the winning team. Benedict Phillips, the president of the Bong Mine Association, said, use the Association of Bong Miners approach to succeed. Ivy Tyler is asking if they are mail-in ballots. I don't think so. And then Mr. Yanley is asking me what happened to the other team. We invited them. I sent them emails, and then there's been no response. I follow up. I called Frank Carter. He had not gotten the email. I called Bindu, who is part of the team and who I know personally, and there has been no response. But we are still open. If they can come, we are right here. Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. Madam Vice Presidential candidate, your parting comments.
Thank you, Mr. Cha. We just want to say thanks to everybody that has been on, and we are icing all the chapters, the union chapters, to come and vote for change. Know that this team, you will feel the impact of ULAA when you vote for this team. When you call, people will be there to answer the phone and provide services and provide resources. We will be there. So we just icing. Please come for that change. We don't want no more dress. Mr. Kamara is the change. His team is the change. We will do it, and we will make ULAA to be visible in all the chapters and in all Americas. So we need you guys to come September 18th, come and vote. Vote for a change in ULAA. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kamara.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Jha, for hosting us, and thanks to our viewership. We really appreciate these exchanges. They were healthy, and I think this is the true sense of democracy. To some of the comments that I listened to, about learning from some of those organizations, this is precisely, by the grace of God, if me and my team will be elected, these are the things we do. We reach out to organizations. We are hoping in the next few, maybe 5-6 months, we'll reach out to all diaspora Liberian organizations in order to have a tete-a-tete to understand what their needs and aspirations are so that we can build a bigger melting pot for Liberians in diaspora. We don't want this kind of weaker link where individuals are elected to a position after 4 years, basically, they really have nothing to show. I'm urging Liberians, you said it, this is my third time, I'm only because of the conviction that I have that leadership matters in everything that we do. So the leadership is weak. The leadership does not respond to Liberians, even phone calls. So I'm going to be the president who's going to be accessible. I'll be the president who will ask other members to share their views. I'll be the president who will be very empirical. Anything that I do will be evidence-based. I will not just jump off and say I'm going to build a resource center in Liberia without doing a need assessment. I will not just jump on one morning and say I'm going to build a bank in Liberia, even when you have to put down a collateral of several millions of dollars without understanding the contextual framework of doing that. Anything I do will be done from evidence-based. I'm not going to do it alone. I have a crack team, a team of experts, and so I'm asking Liberians to trust our judgment. We should not continue the same old that have not produced any result. The last comment I want to make is that when you even ask Liberian, the name ULAA has become so distasteful to Liberians in the diaspora. You talk about ULAA, it's like, you said the most inimical thing. People don't want to come close to you. We need to rebrand ULAA so that we all can be part of a community that will produce for us. Like I said, best practices, is showing that community benefit, for their community organizations, and even the chapter themselves benefit from ULAA. I will not raise money and misapply it for something else. I will not do that. And this crack team will not do that. Will not raise money for COVID-19 and take that money, go buy land with it, and do some other thing with that money. It's a misapplication, and so it's so disingenuous. So I'm asking Liberians to go to Ohio and vote Minerva team, and vote Emmanuel Nangbe for Secretary General, and vote Alexander Bassi for Financial Secretary, vote Dr. Wade Jala for Treasurership, vote Reverend Reeves for Eastern Region Vice President, and vote for the youngest member on our campaign team, this gentleman. Since he came on the campaign team, he has been so productive. And I can't even imagine how come he come from a chapter that presidential candidate has tried to undermine him. That presidential candidate, Mr. Carter, has even gone to another chapter to pick up a candidate to vote against this young man, this talented gentleman. Every morning, every evening, I see the talent and ability for this young man. I'm like, what kind of person in the whole world would have made something like this in his own household? So this tells you the testament of leadership that we are about to replace. And I'm asking Liberians to trust us, because it's a judgment call, it's leadership, it's experience, it's being fixable, it's being a fixer and not a destroyer.
Thank you so much. Next Sunday, Focus on Liberia will be having a 4th year anniversary, and we're going to be using that time also to raise funds to keep the lights on. I want to thank you all for joining us. Good luck to your team, and see you in Ohio. I want to thank you, all our viewers, and even those who will watch later. This is what we do here at Focus on Liberia. Today is hard political news, and all diaspora stations are jumping over it, but politics can wait. We have to build a vibrant community right here in the United States, and that's why we are here. Everybody talking all the noise. Here at Focus on Liberia, no matter what happens, our core, educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. With that, I say thank you so much for coming. We never close any broadcast without playing the song that says, we are all Liberians. Whether you are voting for the Kamara-Grant team or the Carter Kia team, we are all Liberians. Whatever your background may be, whatever your political, social persuasion may be, we are all Liberians, and it behoves all of us to do our best to make Liberia that glorious land of liberty, that oasis that beacon of hope, that lone star of Africa, that will give peace to all people of the black race. Good night and God bless you. We are all Liberian. We are all Liberian. Is taking us home.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home.